What's up, guys? So today's stream really isn't going to dwell on any specific topic. It's more of lately I have had so many random different thoughts, and they all sort of just marinated together. And I said, you know what? I'll just turn them all into a stream. So this is going to have many different topics in one stream, I guess. And to keep it organized, what I did was to give you a heads up on what you can expect to see. In the description, I wrote pretty much the list that I have on my hand of the stuff that I will be just talking about and going over, because there's really no specific topic that I feel like addressing today. But all of these is something that I would like to just mention for the sake of mentioning, and then breaking them down, letting you know what I think, and then yeah, we'll see where this goes. Um, and I already made a mistake. I should have gotten out my computer to be reading comments. But anyways, Holger says, "Good morning, good morning. Good to see you. It's good afternoon for me, but anyways, I'll take it." Um, so the first thing I want to start off is what my almighty fortune cookie said when I went to a Chinese restaurant yesterday, and it was, "New people are entering your life, bringing new concepts." And on the note of me and fortune cookies, they tend to be like the horoscope. They make them generic enough to where you will always be able to relate to them. But I guess given my creative mind, I was able to look at the message and be like, this is something that I can definitely break down into some thoughts. And it's pretty relevant to me because as of the past year, or in fact, a little less than a year, I have been meeting a lot of people, like both in person and also online. And everybody has had something to share with me that has helped me build and give my life some direction and formation, excitement, adventures. Also challenge me in ways that I otherwise wouldn't have. And I'm just really grateful for that. It's something that you just need in order to be better satisfied with life, and it's part of life's experiences. And I feel like all of these things that are happening to me now are preparing me to deal with the future. But it's all good because I like to read stuff that's inspiring, and I always felt like fortune cookies were just that, inspiring. So maybe that's the whole reason they exist in the first place. I know I have many more over the years that I have found that I posted about somewhere, probably Twitter, but I guess I would have to see if I can find them with the keywords. But usually I would just post a picture and not attach anything to it, so maybe it's lost in whatever sea of tweets I have, but it's all good. The other thought that I had is how today I haven't done anything, but despite all that, I'm not letting that stuff get to me. Like, I was just telling someone about all the things that I should be doing since I'm off and I'm not so busy, and it's stuff that I have postponed, and some of it is just house maintenance stuff that has to be addressed. The other stuff is Dusty. He needs a bath. He just needs it, period. Or to just be cleansed in some way. Then there's also this one letter that I have to mail, and it's better to get there by foot than by car because it's practically in my backyard, except that I cannot drive my car through some sidewalks and grass and all that. So because it's less than a quarter of a mile away from me, I just consider it an absolute sin to drive over there. But of all days to be particularly sunny, today that I have to be outdoors had to be it. And I see you, Viking. Um, but what's keeping me from doing that is having to put on sunscreen and also wearing long sleeves. Who wants to wear long sleeves in 90-degree weather? And I guess I could also have like an umbrella for shade, but I'm not doing all that, you know. But you guys know how particularly sensitive my skin is to like the elements. But it's all good. I'll get to it. It has to be mailed today in order for it to reach its destination on time. It will get done, but what bothers me is that I'm just not one of those people who thinks I am off. I am awake at 7 a.m. How about if I get up and get rolling? I just cannot do it. My mind doesn't function like that. And I don't let it get to me because my overachieving days are far behind me. I used to be that one student who was always the first one in class. I was always the first one to turn in my work, the first one to finish tests, but basically just the best. And then I guess I have something that people would call the functional depression, which is just because you have good grades and just because you're excelling at everything doesn't mean that you're particularly happy about it. And honestly, it took me getting my job, meeting some people, and no longer being at the top of the competitive chain, like the competitive edge being on my side, that I realized that that stuff doesn't really matter. It's values that somebody else imposed on us, and we decided to adopt them and go with it. And I'm like, why does stuff has to be that way? Why can we not all individually just introspect and see what works for us as individuals, and that way we don't end up with people who are all confused and insecure and have loads of anxiety and all that. I just remember my times when I was an anxious person, and I always wondered, if I do not inflict that to myself, why is it happening to me? And then when I think about it, I just learned that I'm giving importance to stuff that for me is not going to give me the results that I am looking for to be satisfied with my life. So once I made it, I guess to sound self-centered, once I focused on me, I learned that my problems were pretty much gone. My emotional problems were pretty much gone. I just cannot imagine me sinking to how I felt as a teenager and as a beginning adult, like age 19, 20, 21. Oh my God, I could not stand myself. And maybe some of that still may show up to this day when I may be streaming about something and then suddenly I just roast myself for no reason. Maybe those were some of the remnants of it. I don't know, but yeah, I just learned that just just do what you can at all times. If you do not get around to everything, it's okay. As long as you're alive and not in jail, everything has a solution. So if you're, say, in school and stuff is not going well, as long as you're at least trying, that's fine. And if you happen to be like someone who I know who occasionally just doesn't even have a starting place, or they just don't know how to get started on something, like as long as you're not completely deliberately choosing to fail, then it's all right if you don't, like, the outcome is not optimal for you. I remember when I was a student and I needed for everything to be perfect. I was just so miserable. So once I took the matter into my own hands and I was sincere with myself, my life became so much better. And let's see, I don't want to fall too behind. I am whiter than your t-shirt. I burn easily. See, I am not necessarily like whole milk white, but clearly I am a little bit on the like brighter or clearer end of the spectrum, like lighter end of the spectrum is what I meant. So yeah, my skin is just faulty, period. But but yeah, it also doesn't help that they're just allergens in the air, and yeah, just my genetics suck a little bit at that. But anyways, yeah, I was wondering about depression when you tweeted about your broken sleep, as it sounded like that being the problem to me. I just wanted to say hi, hello, geek. Well, when it comes to me having struggled with sleep last night, I think there were multiple factors. Not to sound gross or anything, but this morning when I woke up, uh, I just discovered blood in my nose, and it turns out that it was there the whole night because I looked at a piece of clothing and the blood was already looking faded, and I'm like, okay, this problem happened last night. So I know what it is. It's definitely due to the sinus infection, and that's the reason you guys have heard me sound funny ever since the hot weather came about. But that also has to do with the fact that I have been exposed to like moldy places. Um, and as soon as you step into somewhere that's moldy, you will suffer from that. And if you wonder how that happened, it's at my job, just messing with some things. But yeah, I know that I will recover from it. But last night I was out, and in fact, that's where the bowling video came from. I was just out. I decided to take that evening just to do fun things and just clear my mind. I never go out. I never do stuff that's fun. But I decided to, you know what, just change things up a little bit. And that was cool. But then I went from being in a place that was sort of room temperature to humidity outside. And then in the car, of course, it was nighttime, so the air conditioner was cooling a little faster than normal rate. And even though my drive home was like 3 minutes from the place I was at, yeah, it got me. It got me really bad because I was sneezing and sneezing like 5 consecutive times on my way home. And yeah, so maybe because I have also been doing bad with my water intake, it's possible that I was just overly dry in my nasal cavities and then one of those ripped something open. That's my little theory. I'm not an expert at that, but it's not the first time that I deal with that situation. So I'm only mildly concerned about it just because it doesn't seem to go away. But then again, I'm not actively doing anything for it to go away. I'm just waiting it out. But yeah, it's all good. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? Aren't you a genetic though? Yeah, if you want to call me that, I'm not going to discuss race. Like, it's going to be too complicated. But yes, I am a mixed person. And apparently, my mixture favors getting sick very often. Finally got me. Yeah, indeed. I've always felt bad that I never seem to catch some folks. I meant to stream a little earlier than this, but I don't know. I wasn't ready. The only time it is too late is when they are throwing dirt on your coffin. True. Well, I guess it's actually we're all genetic mutts unless you're from sub-Saharan Africa and have ancestors that you can trace for a long time there. I guess you mean ancestors. Fun is the best part of life. I'm about to get a season pass at Great Adventures this Friday. I'm Black and Irish. That's cool. That's cool. I've never done stuff like that, like um, getting passes for stuff, like to just see stuff. I'm just not very outgoing, guys. I'm like at work. I used to be invited to go out to places and dance and whatever, and people, for some reason, see on my forehead the word dance because I get asked to go out for dancing and just clubbing and all that all the freaking time, and I'm like, no, like I'm just incredibly an indoor girl. That genuinely makes me happy. If I get incredibly bored or if I'm just associating the house with stress, that's when I do like go outside and do something different. But other than that, I can be at home for weeks and be perfectly fine. So, but no, I have no style, no sense of rhythm. I will be butchering the song. The song will be mad at me for killing it with my moves, but but I mean, sometimes I do wish that I could dance just because it's cool. If I can play a musical instrument, then I might as well know how to throw a choreography together. But Honestly, it used to concern me more as a way to stay in shape, but now I am not afraid to pump some iron. So, I find that way better than possibly going through the stress of learning a choreography. See what I mean? So, but anyways, let's see what you guys are saying. I'm a soy boy. I cannot dance. I do adventures and movies. Part of my courses have dance modules, and I still cannot dance. Well, Ollie, well, you tried, I guess. Oh man, you put me on the spot there. Okay, the next thought that I had was, do you guys happen to have noticed? Probably not. I hope not. But I'm on Twitter a lot, so I see this. But like when Kylie Jenner's child was born, people were criticizing her because she had her child already with the ears pierced. And people were actually mad about that, and I was wondering why. And my opinion on that, it is typical for girls to wear accessories. So, from what I remember my mother telling me, I had my ears pierced pretty much as immediately as it was medically safe to do that to me. And I wasn't mad at her. I don't wear accessories as much as I used to back then. Probably because at any time I go for a run, or I'm just a very, like, I'm always moving around and my hair is very often loose. So I feel like wearing accessories just gets in the way for me, like especially earrings. But I love them. I have a huge collection. I have earrings and necklaces. That same thing with necklaces. My necklaces would get, my hair would get caught in it in the like clip part of it, and then I just got annoyed of seeing my hair getting torn by necklaces, so that's why I opted for not wearing them. And also, I was tired of wasting time at the gym, having accessories on, and then being out on the floor, and then having to go back to the locker room because I forgot to take that stuff off. So I said, you know what? How about if I just don't wear them until it's the weekend? And even on the weekends, I still don't wear them. I may go for a bracelet, but I prefer to not wear anything more than I do. But when it comes to people getting mad about what this lady did her to her child's ears, my immediate response is like, of course, the attempt at being sarcastic, which is, tell me why that should concern you. Why does that concern you? How is the decision that this lady makes with her child going to affect you? Is that going to make you a better citizen? Is that going to make you a better person? Is that going to help you earn more money? Like, just stop being in other people's businesses. I feel like you have such high expectations of celebrities, and if you're going to say that piercing your child's ears at an early age is just going to send them down the path of, if you don't wear accessories, you're unacceptable, then you just need some serious reevaluation and figure out a way to distribute your time a little better, because I think that's definitely reaching. But people were mad saying that she needed to wait for her child to be a little older to make that decision. And I'm like, no, if like it's like your belly button. Look at it as a scar, I guess. But if you decide you don't want to wear accessories, then don't. You're going to have a hole in your ear, but who is actively like zooming into your face and checking out if you have a hole in your ears or not? I know I'm not. I know that I'm not looking at people's ears to see if they're pierced or not. If it's not immediately apparent that they are wearing accessories, like just, I feel like people look reasons to for reasons to get mad at stuff nowadays, especially with celebrities. It's become a trend. It gets attention. It gets people talking. It becomes this movement, and then people have this hype about being social warriors and whatever. And I'm like, you people are just bored, and You have way too much time on your hands. Go outside. How about that? When was the last time you went outside and you planted a tree? If you're so concerned about the environment, like you occasionally see trends about that, like, how about if you do just that? When was the last time you went outside and you had a bag and gloves and you would bend down every time you saw trash on the floor? Like, when was the last time you were at a stream picking up just random trash that's in there? Once you have checked all of that off your list, then maybe come talk to me and say that stuff. But yeah, I think people just need a hobby. People just need a hobby. Offense cannot be given, only taken. Exactly. Good point. Um. Oh, another thought that I had. This was about 3 weeks ago. You guys know how we all have, well, most of us have, or at least have had, pets, unless you have allergies or something. Um, there are two kinds of pets that I just feel this degree of guilt about having had at some point, and that those are fish and birds. On the note of fish, it's because we pretty much whatever container we put them in, let it be a big ass aquarium or just like a confined huge vase or something, that's all the environment that this fish is going to know for the rest of their lives. It's very limiting. It's very, very. I would imagine that's a stressful life to lead. Unless this fish, I don't know much about aquatic life, like I didn't really mess with marine biology, but I would imagine that there are some species that can do okay in an environment with a limited space. But I always feel bad that you are keeping these creatures just caged up one way or another. And same thing with birds. Birds can fly. So basically, well, depending on their physical capabilities, the whole world is their habitat. It's their map, unless, obvious factors like weather and storms. Well, yeah, part of weather. That type of thing gets in their way and interferes with their existence, but they have such a freedom. And then when you keep them as pets, it's like they're not able to move like they're accustomed to. They're not able to just physically even exercise the way that they're used to. Like, birds just soar, flap their wings, and, do all that stuff. They may go from branch to branch. But when they're in a cage, you really don't have much to do. And that just feels terrible. So, fish and birds are definitely something I am not going to own again. I used to as a kid because my mother would bring them because someone would give them to her or something. And I love the sound of birds singing, but there are plenty in my backyard to satisfy me like that. So it's just bizarre for me to keep those particular animals as pets. Because at least with a dog, you can put a leash on them, go out on a walk, and they can explore as far as you yourself go. And then cats, I guess they're pretty good roamers independently. They'll know when to come back to your house no matter what. But yeah, those particular pets, they're really really limited. And think about it. You cannot really go out and walk a fish. Like, yeah, you can take the tank with you or whatever container you have them in. You have to keep it with water and on the perfect temperature as well. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that they're not confined still. They cannot explore their surroundings like you can. So, anyways, I just thought that was a thought that I would just throw out there because we all love pets to some degree and we tend to limit some species. So, I just feel bad. So, I cannot see myself owning those. Where did I leave off? Oh, people definitely look for reasons to get pissed off. I have Heard it argued that you should need a baby's consent to change them, which is, of course, ridiculous. Sure, let them get a rash if they want. I know, right? That's crazy. I wish I got my ear pierced as a kid. I was a boy. I did not have my sister's earrings. I so agree. These animals are in prison. That is why they try to jump out. Exactly. Like, I would be desperate trying to just do more with my existence than being confined. Then I don't know what it's like to think as a wild creature, but I'm a member of a civilization established already, but yeah, it's kind of just strange. Why would we do that? Like, what pleasure can we possibly get out of that? Well, of course, there's the capitalist aspect of it. You can sell animals, but ugh. Fish only have a 3-second memory or swim out. What fish? They cut the wings of a bird so they can't fly away. But see, still, these, like, the bird was born with its wings, and the wings serve a purpose. So why limit them? It would be different if you have a pet that's encaged because they suffered an injury. Like, say you find a bird on the sidewalk, it's agonizing, its wing is broken beyond repair or something, so you decide to take it into your own foster. That's different because this creature has not lived its entire life crippled, whereas it suddenly had a life changing event, and you, protecting its life, decided to take it and take care of it. That's different. That's cool. But if you actually altered the bird after it got to your hands, that's pretty messed up. Because, this bird was born with its capabilities, and then you're modifying it to, in an attempt to make it more suitable to live in the habitat that you're supplying it with. You know, it kind of takes me back to folks who are physically disabled. Like, there's two aspects of it. You were born able bodied, something happened to you, it changed your abilities. Let's say that you can no longer walk. Well, you will have memories of having developed, manifested, acquired skills as an able bodied person. That's how you learn to conduct your life. You live in a normal home, you don't need accessibility or anything like that because you are able bodied. But then once that life changing event took place, you find yourself having to relearn how to do some things and live with that limitation. And you also need to alter your, let's say, your residence because you can no longer handle, say, stairs. If you are paralyzed, like, your legs don't work or something, you shouldn't be residing in a place that has 2 levels, for example. But if you are someone who was born disabled and you have never known what it's like to have full functionality of your body, that's a complete different story because that will become normal for you. You will know how to live your life based on that limitation. But if you already had your life established as an able bodied person, you will become overwhelmed by your new set of circumstances. So that's why I throw that out there because I try to put myself in that perspective. So with animals, it's like if a dog or something gets hit by a car and one of its legs gets messed up, it no longer would be able to live a life independently. It will need more attention from you. So you yourself may even alter the habitat around your house to accommodate this being. So under those set of circumstances, then all right, I can understand that. But if a creature is already perfectly able-bodied, then let them live their lives like they're supposed to. See what I mean? But anyways, sorry for bad spelling. Don't worry about it. I understood your message. But yeah, you guys, I thought I would share those random thoughts. Then there's also the people who feel your feelings for you. I have pretty much expressed this already on a different stream, but I keep seeing it time and again and again and again where people try to feel things for you that you do not actively feel. Like, say, I like to be teased, as in someone may say something about me, and my mom used to call me the squirrel because I would just talk a lot. And I know my dad had a nickname for me because of my hair, but I forget what it was. But, anyways, basically, it's fluffy and curly and all that. So let's pretend that he used to call me a sheep. I don't know. And then people will try to feel offended for you when you do not feel offended. It's like, oh, you're calling her a sheep. She is a human. She is a person. Why are you comparing her to an animal? Like, mother effer, because of texture. This reminds him of a sheep. You know, what is wrong with that? I'm not offended. I ain't got beef with my dad over that. You are feeling emotions that I do not perceive, and you're trying to attach them to me. Like, stop that mess. Worry about yourself. Worry about your business. But you guys remember, I don't know how much you see celebrity news, but I think it was last year or 2 years ago, Jennifer Lawrence. People were talking about her, or maybe it was earlier this year. But, anyways, she was trending, and then she was next to two guys. I think this was in Paris, maybe. And then she was wearing a dress and pretty much was sleeveless. Her chest was exposed and her arms were exposed. Her face was exposed and it was cold. And the guys around her all had coats and jackets and they were, loaded and well insulated. But people were saying that Jennifer wearing that stuff means that she is oppressed and she was a target of the patriarchy and the expectations of women having to look a certain way. And then Jennifer came out and she said, what are y'all doing? Why are you mad? Why are you guys mad? I chose that. I chose that outfit. I chose that dress. I decided to voluntarily go out in like 25-degree weather and have this picture taken. And the guys were actually offering me their coats or something, but I declined it. You were feeling Jennifer's feelings for her. You were being offended for her, and she wasn't even having a problem with what was going on because she made that choice. So that's what I mean by people who feel your feelings for you. It's like, no, don't assume things for people. Let them be. Leave them alone. You don't know what they're going through. Or what you see is not always what it seems. So I just wish more people understood that and just worry about your business. That's all I have to say. Um, Another thought that I had was what kind of creative jobs deserve pay? And to put that in a simplistic perspective, I pretty much gave the answer away, which is job. I used the word job. Creative job. A job is something that should be paid, period. Because you are taking time to produce something. And I believe that the whole point of you getting paid for something is for taking the time to do something. Or, like, the degree in which you get paid depends on some factors. If you have a particularly risky job, that is treated as a bonus. It's like, not only are you giving us your time of the day to contribute to the growth of our cause, say, whatever the company does, you are also putting your life at risk. So because you are taking your life at risk, we need to compensate you extra for that. And then if you want to add an extra bonus, if there are more details to consider, then that makes your paycheck increase. So the whole reason I bring that up is because it seems to be getting tougher and tougher to be finding jobs in the arts and theater and acting and whatever you want to call all that to resume it. And when I think about it, I guess another tough aspect of that industry is how it's pretty saturated already. Like, trust me, we are not running out of actors. Like, how many, say, how many random people started off on, let's say, YouTube and they ended up being actors? They ended up being featured in movies. They ended up becoming directors themselves. And they never even went to college nor anything. They just happened to have the proper audience, the proper support, funds, and they were able to turn their dream into a reality without having to follow the traditional way of accomplishing things. So, honestly, if anything takes time and effort and supplies, materials, and someone wants it, you deserve to get paid for that. It's like if one of you said, "Hey, yo, Zam, draw one of your posters for me." I'm like, okay, this is going to take me 10 hours. This is going to take me, maybe cost me $20 of art supply. Um, stuff like that. I will need to charge you for that because it's taking effort and resources. So if anyone tries to tell you that what you do as an artist isn't worth anything, then they do not have an appreciation for the arts and they do not deserve any of your time, period. And anything nowadays can be turned into a job, if you ask me. So, why shouldn't something that actually requires skill, because being an artist is a skill, why shouldn't that get paid? And if it were invaluable, then why do you need a piece of art in the first place? The folks who do marketing at companies, I'm pretty sure you need to have a degree of artistic thinking to accomplish that. You need to understand about design elements so that you don't freaking write yellow text, bright yellow, against a white background. That just looks terrible. So, anyways, I thought that I would just randomly mention that because I keep seeing that a lot. And not only that, but even in schools, the art courses are being removed. And I find that obscene because the art courses that I took definitely shaped me in my creative department. And then if you look at job descriptions nowadays, they are looking for character traits. And if you ask me, these arts classes help you with that. So it seems kind of contradictory that you would want to get rid of that. I live next to a park and we have a lot of wildlife. We feed them. They often just walk up or fly on us and be friends for food. That can also be called virtue signaling, less about what you did was wrong, more about look how caring I am. Selling food and water. What creative jobs deserve pay? To put it simply, all of them time is money. If someone gives their time on someone else's behalf, they should be paid for it. Simple as that. Unfortunately, the arts are unique in the respect that you have to prove yourself somehow. So a lot of people work for free, and if you won't, they will find someone who will. Depends on the art. No, it doesn't. If you want something artistic done, either do it yourself or pay someone. Simple as that. I disagree. Fair enough. Why? Well, on that note, I have to agree that if it's something that you are creating as an artist for yourself, then of course you are rewarding yourself. So the time that you spent on yourself shouldn't have to be paid. Like, I'm not demanding pay for anything that I drew because it's for me, it's for my own personal indulgence and consumption. But if someone else wants something, I can maybe supply it as a donation. I can be like, oh, I know that you like Metal Gear. I love Metal Gear. I know that you like Kaz Miller. I love Kaz Miller. I drew a poster of him. I can give it to you. Like, there's a difference between you being, what's it called? Someone who is a giver. Like, you don't mind donating something out of the kindness of your heart. But there is a difference out of expecting something from you and you do not give a proper reward for that. Because, say, if someone decided that they want for me to draw for them on a weekly basis, I deserve to get paid for that because I have to alter my schedule and start a project from scratch. Whereas if I give something that's already done, I don't have problems with that. But if you're asking me to be elaborate and just for a thank you, if my art is going to benefit you and help you grow in a way, say if you're going to use it as a means to do marketing, I think I deserve pay because that's going to promote your business. My flyer that I'm going to design for you is going to be catchy. Why should I not be rewarded for that? See what I mean? So, yeah, I think that that stuff deserves pay. It's time consuming, it is a skill, and if you didn't find that valuable, why would you bother with wanting it? See what I mean? So, do it yourself, and if you do not possess the skill for it, then that means that it's a special talent, it's a special skill. So you need to pay for that to the person who possesses that skill, and you're looking for that reward for that feedback. See what I mean? It's kind of tough to put into words, but anyways. Um because I have seen artists struggle and might never make it. This is why I said depends on the art. Sometimes you have to tell people you are not good at this art project and direct them to where they might be amazing. Now, there's also I saw some street art recently and I said, "Wow, if I would have made that art on that little mural or whatever, because I had to get special equipment to do that, like a fire truck, and I have to just know what I'm doing, very easily that art is worth thousands of dollars because the level of detail was amazing. And it's not something that you just like wake up one morning and you say, I'm going to paint a huge wall on the side of this one building. And it's going to be huge and it's going to have every single color possible. And the shape is going to be, distinctive. Like these are characters that people can recognize. The detail is going to be there. The weather is not going to ruin it. How can I make this preserved? That deserves to be paid. This person has to calculate and just time stuff just right in order for this art to come out. That person deserves to be paid. I see what you're saying, but that is so easy to abuse. I've seen art in museums that is literally just a few lines. One person might say you're not good, where another might love it. It's tricky. Well, when it comes to that, I want to throw out there the word brand. Maybe this person who put the art in the museum, that's just a few lines, maybe they're a brand and they have a deal with the museum that's like, okay, put my name out there, you get this cut, I get my cut. There's more aspects to business than the eye meets sometimes. I'm not saying that's the case, I'm just saying that that may be something to consider. That may be an influencing factor. Um, yeah. Okay, another thing that I thought about was my feelings on reaction videos. For some reason, there's been people out there who say that reaction videos are stupid and pointless. And back in, I want to say December or January, something like that, I made some kind of reaction video, and I was reading an article, and this stream was like 3 hours long. But anyways, I was reading an article, and I was pretty much reacting to it as I went along and even mocking some parts of it. And then someone in the comments told me to please not turn into a reactions channel because they think it's stealing another person's idea or a waste. Like it's a waste. And then I said to myself, I do this sparingly, but I believe that the kind of reaction that I was producing was original because while I reacted to the article line by line by line, I was also expressing my opinion. My opinion may be something that no one on YouTube has said yet. So I think that reaction videos are particularly special because sometimes I have been on situations where I say, God, I wish that were on film, or I wish someone would have recorded my reaction. So maybe that's the appeal of reaction videos. It's like you're watching an episode of something for the first time ever, and then you come across this scene that's really shocking, and you're like, oh, you may say something in a unique way the moment that it happens that you cannot recreate. There is a difference between something that just freshly happened versus you narrating a story and then you have evidence for the thing that freshly happened, but then when you try to narrate a story, some of the impact behind it gets lost. So that's the way I look at reaction videos. Reaction videos to me is someone is going to experience something for the first time and they want to capture how they felt. Did it meet their expectations or did it not meet their expectations? If I come across something that is super good and it meets my expectations, I will have a unique reaction the immediate moment it happens versus when I tell you the story a few hours after my hype has died. See what I mean? That's how I look at reaction videos. Will I do them? Only if it's a very, very, very like special thing, special circumstance. But it's not really my style anyway. But that's the way I look at reaction videos, and that's why I don't think they're stupid or a waste. What does get annoying is when you click on a video and you think it's going to be about the content the title says, but it turns out to be a reaction video, but the word reaction is not present on the title, and they end up wasting my time. That's the only time I have issues with a reaction video. So it becomes an issue before I knew that it was a reaction video, put it that way. Reaction videos, that is a complicated thing. I think I understand the complaint that it might be considered stealing or a waste, but I think there is a right way to do it. As for the appeal, if people want to watch reaction videos, why not make them? Grade A under A famously hated them, but I can poke a few holes in the stealing logic. I'll be right back. I need to fix something. Okay. Where am I at? As for okay. The argument is you're stealing views for a video that you didn't make, but really you cannot prove that those views would have found their way to the original video without the reaction video. Besides which, most reaction videos I've seen were videos I had already watched and probably wouldn't again otherwise. Good point. What I hate the most on YouTube are those useless reaction videos where someone just sits and watches something and laughs or comments. It doesn't add anything, it's just pointless. Okay, that type of reaction video is the one that I am opposed to. Like I said, I cannot just read an article and be like, haha, okay, this and that. Nah, it almost seems to me like you are watching something for the first time and some emotions you're trying to force. Like you're trying to force laughter out of you to follow a script. But maybe another way that I look at reaction videos is you're taking popular content and you're posting it to your channel because it's the current trend, and that way you make an audience. That way you get found more because people are keying in the words to find what's trending, and your channel comes up because you are posting about it. I think that's kind of dumb. I like to react to something as I go. So I guess the way I would handle a reaction video is I will watch it and then immediately when it's closed, review it. But I honestly like to just see something first and then get on the channel and be like, hey guys, I watched this and this is how I felt about it. But honestly, like I said, it's not my style, so I don't know. It's not really my appeal. I don't actively look for them. I found you because someone used your reaction video in their reaction video. It was so funny. I shall waste my time watching someone who how he watches something. What the fuck and how is it YouTube not deleting? You know, I think that YouTube has begun to tackle some of that because I feel like part of the reason we had that last monetization situation was over videos that were being re-uploaded for that very reason. You know what I mean? Whereas Megheads watch a movie trailer, yes, people are stupid sheep. Sometimes the personality watching is enough to sell it. Maybe it's an approximation to watching with a friend or to some people. Kind of an open, shared experience. I don't watch them, but I get it. From that point of view, I also get them. I prefer reviews over reactions to reactions. Yeah, true. I also prefer reviews because reviews, the person reviewing tends to take their time to break something down and actually add to the content, which is what you guys were saying. Um, but honestly, if it's going to be a video where in the end it's like, that was so funny, I'm so glad I watched it, or okay, I don't see how this is funny. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon. You know, it's too plain. There's enough content on YouTube already for you to waste your time to then create this to create even more of a hole for you to fall into to waste even more time. You know, I'm not saying that my channel is the greatest example to follow. Like I'm just a girl here alone in her room with a camera, just rambling about random things. But I do feel like I got stuff to add. And if I don't have anything to add, I give you guys a platform to add to the topic. That maybe the point that I'm raising, no one else would have thought about. And that's what keeps the discussion going. I think it's worth it. Like, am I sitting secretly rewatching my own videos after I post them? No. I never watch a playback unless there was something concise about it, like a memory about something. But you know, it's not like I'm actually indulging in my own content and being like, ah, yeah, the videos I produce are so good. I just gotta keep watching them and watching them. There are some videos that I can watch again and again and I get bored. Unlike books, once I read them once, I never touch them again. Some movies, I watch them once, I never touch them again. But some people are so good at what they do in here that I do find myself coming back for the same content, which is strange. But anyways, I think that pretty much sums it up for me on the reaction videos. Then the last thing that I had on my notes is how is it that younger people are looking old these days? And let me tell you a quick story. I don't know if I said this already in another stream, but I was 2 weeks ago, I had a shift with two awesome people who I work with, and then I suddenly just storm into the office and I'm like, you guys, why is it that people who are about to be my age, or maybe 3 to 4, 5, 6 years younger, they're looking so much older than me? Why? And then my guy colleague who was there, he was like, I know what you're saying, Sam, because the one issue that I have is I want to grow a beard, but I cannot, you know, and I'm almost 40. I don't get it. What are these kids into that their hair just grows? You know, I want to have a beard, but I can't. All I can have is like the little thingamachin, but you know. And then I thought it was funny because I would have never thought that that's something he wanted. Like I always looked at him as someone who's just really secure with his appearance. Well, I'm not saying that him not being able to grow a beard messes him up, but like everyone expresses insecurities differently. But but yeah, then my female colleague was like, I know, right? I thought that I was the only one making that observation. And then when I think about it, I guess it's because people are starting to wear makeup way earlier, like when they're way younger, and your skin isn't really supposed to be all painted like that. So what you're doing is you're depriving your pores of breathing, and then that might be aging you a little faster. I'm not a dermatologist. I don't know. I'm just trying to use logic, piece stuff together. But I find that when your face is not fresh, like clean, you tend to look like you're aging. And another thing is that some people are starting to hit the gym at an earlier age too. Like there are these people who are into sports or they work out or something and they're looking like beasts. And then when I card them for, buying something, I'm like, what? You're 5 years younger than me? I guess I'm living my life right, but what you doing, bruh? Or maybe too much sun exposure. Because let me tell you, the sun will age you. It just will. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Let me see what you guys are saying. La, 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 la. Yes, as I said, and have low self-esteem. That's why PewDiePie has 15 million subs. Shallow people. You know what? You're the second person I talked to about PewDiePie. That's interesting. Within the same week. Well, if you're curious, my feelings on PewDiePie are the few videos that have had a title intriguing enough for me to check out. I have enjoyed his content, and I honestly feel like some of it is underrated. Specifically, the ones that I happened to have seen. Um, I guess personality really is what sells in here because when I think about my own personal experience with YouTube, I don't do anything special. I don't have a production. Like I don't do special effects. All I do is I sit here and I talk. What people do in their daily lives, something as basic and primitive as talking, that's what I do in here. But for some reason, people are finding me, people are subscribing to me, people are interacting with me, people are dropping me sweet, nice comments. So when I think about it, it has to be because I'm, I guess, different, or my type of personality, my voice, intrigues them. So I guess people see PewDiePie as that person who they do not necessarily encounter in person, but he's entertaining enough to where you find yourself wanting to go back to go see him and stay in touch with him. So there are times in which he shares his opinion on some matters, and I find him inspiring. I honestly do. But I guess if you have an audience who's young, if you're someone who's using special effects and you're going on trips and you have expensive cars and stuff, that's stuff that kids are always dreaming about. And if you pay attention to the folks who have a huge audience, they tend to be the folks who do games. Because didn't PewDiePie become popular because of his games? Gaming streams or something? That's how people found him. Over the years, he evolved his content, but his audience is still there for him because they just love him for how he is. And I guess for me, if I were to try to grow my channel, I would have to pretty much get on the boat of doing the stuff that's mainstream, like the challenges where you fill up your bathtub with jelly or something. And I'm not going to do that, So I guess depending on what you aim for, that's the kind of result you're going to get. So, And then, of course, there's also the comments that people make because when you have such a huge following, what you say can be used against you and will be used against you. And you know that Felix has been in trouble many, 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 many times. And they even blame him for the occasional monetization troubles with YouTube and whatnot. So I guess if I only focus on what he's producing and say the way he's delivering his content, the way he edits, the way he makes commentary, which is part of the delivering aspect of it, I can appreciate him. I can find him inspiring. But is he my role model? No. So so I guess everyone has their elements that you can appreciate individually. So for kids, he is definitely going to be someone that kids are going to find awesome. But for the rest of us who we have a different view on what we consider entertaining and appealing and whatnot, then he's not going to be the guy for us. You know? So anyways, let me see what you guys are saying on that one. I do have to admit, on the surface, it's such a lazy idea. I wish I would have thought of it first. I don't make YouTube videos because I tend to be blunt and non-PC. Actually, I think YouTube auto subs you to PewDiePie. I never subscribed to him, but I've unsubbed like 5 times. Or maybe if you use touchscreen, you may accidentally sub someone because sometimes I saw people on Twitter that I'm like, why the fuck are you here? And then when I look at it, the button to follow someone is now so easy to hit that I'm like, oh, when I'm scrolling, it's possible for me to hit the follow button. So maybe that's what happened. And then, God forbid, if you have a shaky hand too, maybe your cursor just